Welcome to Laguna Seca for the practice session ahead of rounds 10, 11 and 12 of the iRacing British Touring Car Championship. Rounds 10, 11. And we're just going to have a little warm up here on the Wednesday ahead of Thursday's 3 rounds. A little qualifying going on right now, and then just a short qualifying session, it's a 5-minute qualifying session, and followed by a 10-minute race to give these drivers a chance to get used to the track and hopefully put in some good lap times. So grid order from qualifying obviously will determine the starting order in the race. Let's switch over now to the track and see how they're getting on. Have a look at Marcus Naris in the KX Momentum. Remember, there's only 5 minutes for qualifying here, only really time to get in 2 laps ish in order to set qualifying time. Your out lap obviously doesn't count, so 2 laps with these setups that these drivers have had a quick practice session beforehand, and let's see how they get on. Note all the drivers just coming around the track now to start their first flying lap. We'll stay with Marcus, see how he gets on. And not all the drivers in their British Touring Car livery today. This session is open to anybody. Hopefully pick up some more entries if people join and enjoy this session. As Marcus goes over the line there, 139. Obviously that was his out lap. Now down into turn 1, the Andretti hairpin, double apex. Out of there nice and clean. Switch over to the other side of the track for the for turn number 2. It keeps it clean through there as well. Turn 3. It's looking good for Marcus. He's been setting some good times in the practice session before this race. Perhaps only 1 lap for these drivers, depending on how they get on. As you watch him come up the hill now under the bridge. He's got a couple of cars behind him, but no traffic up ahead to really get in his way. Oh, he clips the curb. Just runs a little bit wide. Now he's coming up the hill on the approach to the corkscrew. Nice fearsome corner in the British Touring Car Racing calendar. Very nicely handled there, though. He's determined to put in a good lap for us. Very short qualifying session. Coming round then to the final few corners. Switches across the other side of the track now for the very tight final corner down the start finish straight. Marcus Naris then for KX Momentum comes over the line. It is a 131.1, and that's not a bad lap at all. That is not a bad lap at all. Like I say, well, I don't think many drivers will get in a second lap in this qualifying session. Switching over to Steve Richardson there for eBay Motors. 132.7 his best. Might just finish this lap. We'll stay with him and see how he gets on here. It's about midway through this lap now. Coming up under the bridge, a little flick to the left here, maybe a dab of brakes, keeps it off the gravel, starts his approach up the hill there, the snaking twisty hill into the corkscrew, hard on the brakes, keeps it wide on the way in as well, gets a nice clean exit. Very strange camber on this next corner, but he's kept that tight as well. So it's a 132.7 to beat here. Let's have a quick look at the the qualifying time so far. Ellis Stevens then, also for eBay Motors, setting the fastest time in a 131.0. Richardson over the line, 133. He's not going to beat that with just 1 second to go then. There is your grid for the start of this very brief 10-minute race. Once again, a practice session ahead of rounds 10, 11 and 12 of the iRacing British Touring Car Championship. And Tim Clayson's there, coming over the line in a 130.1. takes the pole position by almost a full second there. Excellent lap. Really impressive lap there. So Stevens will start second on the grid. Naris third. Oh no, we got a reclassification there. Richard Wilde coming in on pole. Oh, he's edged out Claessens by 0.02 of a second to take that pole. What a lap, 130.0. So Wilde, Claessens, Stevens, Naris, row 3, Hefford and Ortiz, and then row 4, Hunt and Shaw, Paul Bird and Boardman picking up row 5. Come a little bit further down the grid then, Steve Richardson 11th and Peter Foster is in 12th. The rest of the drivers not setting a qualifying time, so they will be put to the back of the grid. We're just getting ready now to we're getting ready to grid up for the start of this practice session. A 7-lap race will ensue, roughly 7 laps I believe. 10 minutes in which to really get a good practice on this track, I suppose. And these drivers will have to do 3 races, about 15 minutes each, 10 laps. That's tomorrow, rounds 10, 11 and 12. And the championship is looking pretty hot at the moment as the drivers make their way onto the grid. Still very close at the top of the championship. We'll take a look in closer detail tomorrow for those 3 rounds. There's a lot of points up for grabs. We've got 23 entries here. Let's see just how many of them make it onto the grid. This could make the first corner rather interesting. Richard Wilde then taking pole position there by 0.02 of a second. That is ahead of Tim Claessens and Ellis Stevens there in the light blue car on the inside for 3rd place. Marcus Naris takes the 4th place as they rev up, ready to get going here at Laguna Seca. The lights are on. They're green. They all make their way off the grid. A whole gaggle of cars here. Some in their correct liveries, some not, as they make their way down to first corner. This is where things could start to get a bit ugly. Everyone's alright so far. One of the Pertec boys almost getting back into the back of the KX Momentum there. Oh, and one of the Pertecs has gone wide, that's a shame. But everyone else seems to have got through that first corner nicely. Back to your leader then, is Claessens from Wilde. He's managed to get round Richard Wilde in the second corner there. Wilde is right behind him. As Stevens now down the inside, looking to take that second spot. He's backed out of it. He thinks better of it this early in the race. 10-minute race, almost a minute of it gone already. As Claessens is leading this race from Richard Wilde. Ellis Stevens 3rd, and that looks like Marcus Naris there. No, it's not. It's one of the unliveried cars in 4th. I'll try and find out who that is. Claessens now starting to pull out a little bit of advantage. Oh, and Stevens has got past Wilde. Has got a bit wild, if you like, in the corkscrew. I'll try and find out what happened there. Oh, and he's slowed right down. Has he made contact with something there? Wilde is a major problem for Wilde. See what happens as he comes into the corkscrew. It looks alright through there. Gets a little bit wide. Stevens slips through, and he just couldn't bring it under control, I don't think. And yeah, he's lost a lot of time there. He has lost a lot of time. He's still in it though. Richard Wilde has dropped quite a long way down the field. Let's go back up to the race leaders then. It's Claessens from Stevens in 2nd position. And the timing has gone a little bit awry. We're gonna reset the timing and see if we can get some more accurate figures here. So Clayson's from Stevens. Ortiz is in third. Daniel Hunt there in fourth position. Going through the corkscrew, makes a move on the outside. The Pertec of Stephen Hefford is behind him. Mid-pack, it is all clumping up together. Just behind them, Simon Field as Ortiz creeps away. Hefford now down the inside. Takes the position. Simon Field's looking to get a look in there as well. Coming down to the hairpin. Daniel Hunt's on the fight. He can't get through, but Field is right on his tail. And behind them, Chris Shaw as well. So Simon Field is just a spectator in this battle at the moment between Stephen Hefford and Daniel Hunt. Going down into turn 1. As they go through turn 1 with almost half the race gone there. Field slides a little bit wide. That's allowed Chris Shaw a look in. These four are still nose to tail here on lap 3. Hefford goes wide. He's lost a bit of speed. Field's on the outside for this next corner. Hefford should... No, he's led and he's dropped quite a bit of time there. Field is through, and that's allowed Daniel Hunt to get away. An exciting race in the midfield at the moment. Looking back from Daniel Hunt then, currently in 4th position as we come up the hill and then down into the corkscrew. There's Hunt, Field, Hefford and Shaw all going through, almost nose to tail there. Field's through. Stephen Hefford is still fighting off Chris Shaw though. So coming down to complete another lap, we will join up with Simon Field, who is not very far off the yellow and red car in front of him there of Daniel Hunt. Just 0.3 of a second as I come into the first corner. Field looks to get a better line, a better exit through there. But he's run a bit wide on the way out. That's going to lose him a little bit of time. Daniel Hunt started to creep away just as the 3 behind him was starting to battle it out with each other, but now he is in trouble as Simon Field is on the attack. He takes the outside line, Field here. He won't get round the outside this time. Looks to get a good run up the hill under the bridge. Just behind these guys you can see the blue and white car there of Richard Wilde recovering from that first lap. Oh, and Hefford's gone off. Hefford's wide. Oh, it's a disaster for Stephen Hefford. He's going to give up that place there. Oh, he's held it. Yeah, didn't lose too much time there really. Richard Wilde, meanwhile, is right on the back of Chris Shaw now, and Hefford is in the middle of... Oh, and there's a spin there from Daniel Hunt. He comes back on the track. He's collided with Simon Field. That is a disaster. Field is surely out of the race, and Hunt's car can't be too healthy after that either. Let's take another look at that as they come down the hill here. Daniel Hunt gets a bit wide. He's just a spectator at this point. As the car snaps back on him, you can just see Ellis Stevens going through there in 3rd place up in front. He has no control over his car whatsoever. Nothing Field could do. But that has ended both of their races as Field is catapulted off the track into those tyres there. So Hunt is out, Field is out. We're back with Tim Claysons then. He has now a 5-second lead at the front of the field with 3 minutes remaining over Brian Ortiz, who is currently running in 2nd place. Remember, neither of these drivers are in the Touring Car Championship. They are just guest drivers in today's practice session as Claysons comes down into the corkscrew there. this practice session is open to any drivers that fancy it, and these guys certainly did, and they're running away with it. As we have a back marker, Clasons is just coming up to there. Meanwhile, a little bit further down the field, Ellis Stevens is not too far behind Brian Ortiz. Stevens currently in 3rd place, big gap then down the field to Stephen Hefford, who is in 4th. Riding on board with Ellis Stevens. Not in the eBay Motors machine today. Not the liveries, the correct livery is not required for this practice session. Coming through turn 1, gets a nice exit there as Ortiz runs a little bit wide. Just hounding the rear of that white car up in front. Those brake discs glowing red through these corners. Misses the apex slightly, uses a rumble strip on the exit. There's not much in it, and there's not a lot of time left. These drivers will complete this lap, and they will have one more lap. So can Stevens take 2nd place? It certainly looks like a podium finish at the moment for Stevens and Ortiz, unless unless they do a hunt and a field and take each other out, which would be rather unfortunate as they come down into the corkscrew now. Oh, that's disaster! And what was I just saying? That was the commentator's curse, surely. What has happened there? I'll try and get a replay of that one. So they come through the corner there up to the bridge. This replay's a little bit too far back, in fact. They're just coming up the hill now into the corkscrew. Stevens very late on the brakes. Oh, he's early on the brakes, in fact. But yeah, just takes out the back of Brian Ortiz, brings his car to a stop, and Ortiz now down in 5th position. Stevens is in the pits. Ortiz under threat from Steve Richardson as he runs a bit wide. He's got some damage on that car. He's going to try and ride it out right till the end. And middle of the way through the final lap then, as their timer ticks down, Tim Clasons. He's still got a big lead. Stephen Hefford is now in 2nd place. He's a full 13 seconds behind. Clasons then to the corkscrew for the final time. There's Hefford. There's Richard Wilde right behind him. So he hasn't got a huge advantage over Richard Wilde. So he runs a little bit wide there as well. Stephen Hefford just coming into the corkscrew for the final time for these guys here. Let's see. Let's stay with this fight right to the end. Down through the corkscrew. Clasons is over the line already, and almost contact there. Richard Wilde looking for a way round. Only one corner in which to do it. Hefford's run wide. Oh, what a nightmare! What a nightmare! But he's pulled it back. He dives down the inside. There's contact. Richard Wilde did not give him enough room, or was it a bit of a dive bomb? That is the question. Those two will come over the line. Wilde does take it, although that's under questionable circumstances, as Chris Shaw comes through in 4th. Paul Bird is over the line in 5th. Brian Ortiz is 6th. And the drivers all just coming over the line now. Let's get the final results on our screen then. What an exciting but very short race. Ignore the points there, this is a practice session, but Tim Clasons takes the win in convincing fashion. Ellis Stevens and Brian Ortiz coming together from the 2nd and 3rd position on the penultimate lap there. And that gave 2nd place to, we thought it would be Stephen Hefford, who was overtaken on the last corner, or the corner before last, by Richard Wilde to take the 2nd place. Shaw 4th, Paul Bird 5th, Ortiz comes home 6th, Naris 7th, Richardson 8th, 9th is Boardman, 10th is Stevens, David Albanese and Simon Topham are 11th and 12th, Malcolm Foster and Simon Field 13th and 14th, Daniel Hunt is 15th. What an exciting race that was. Only a short one, 7 laps, but that is quite enough to get in a whole load of action. What I'm going to do is see if we can get a quick word with the man of the moment, Ellis Stevens. Ellis, are you there? Are you there, Ellis?
No. Speak to my lawyer.
Talk us through that incident at the corkscrew.
Well, he obviously just stopped in front of me.
That put you down quite. You were on for what? Do you think you could have got past him in a second?
Easily. I was going to win it.
Yeah, okay, you're going to win it from Clayson's, who was 10 seconds ahead.
Yeah. I had a couple of seconds of that.
Well,
saving my tyres.
Saving your tyres, brilliant. Well, better luck next time, Ellis.
Yeah.
And that about wraps up this exciting practice session from Laguna Seca on BSR TV. Remember, Thursday, the 29th of August, the live qualifying and rounds 10, 11 and 12 will take place. Look out for them on Twitch TV, or if you fancy watching later on the BSR TV YouTube channel, where all the videos will be uploaded. And I will see you tomorrow.